So that's just your basic review of using the basic structure and printing out one line. Now, if you want to practice again, you can do another system. Cut out that print. If you want to just do a print instead of a print line, just use the word print, parenthesis. Maybe you want to do some type of calculation. So you might do 30 divided by 5, and then do a semicolon after that. Hit run, and it should print out my name and the other calculation. I can do another one, do another system, cut out that print line. I can do a combination of print and print line. And maybe I ask, how are you? And then a semicolon and then. If you guys notice, like where I have my name and then the number and how are you, if I want how are you to drop to the next line, I can go ahead and change that print to be a print line and it will drop it down to the next line. Hit run. And so that way now they're all separate lines. So you can play around with your code, add, get used to doing some of that stuff. Let's say I wanted a huge break between my first and last name. I can do that. I can go right to print line, to that line on line 8 and hit return, hit the space bar. And this is the only time it recognizes white space or space between text is when it's in between like the quotation marks. So if I hit run, you notice there's big spaces between my first and last name. Oops, if it's easier to see here. Questions? Are we still working on it?
I think everybody's okay.
Okay. So this is a good practice to kind of troubleshoot our errors, debug our code. That's just as important. And practicing those print lines right now, or prints, because that's what our assignments are going to be, and that's the basic thing. I mean, we need to print something out or have some kind of output in order to know our program's running. So you don't need to hand this in. This was just practice, but I just wanted to have you guys go through that again. So if you want to go, if you feel comfortable doing that, we're going to do one more practice before we do the assignments, okay? So you can go back to the classroom. I'm going to go back. And I'm going to go back to the assignments here. And I'm going to go to practice 2. And this one's already done for us. But I want you guys to kind of look at this. So the following program should list, oh, that's not computer teacher. It should just be every teacher at Saugatuck Schools. It should display the following. So it should display Mr. Smith, Mr. Ward, Mrs. Spoolhoff, Mr. Heiser, Mrs. Galloway, and Mr. Haar. However, there are several errors in this program that I've already provided for you. So if I just run it at face value, if I just run it just like this, I'm going to get some errors. Okay. So your job or your goal is to take a look at this program and tell me what the errors are. So fix it. So you might want to go through. Public class is fine where it says public class main. The public in front of that is fine, but if you want, you can get rid of that. And then run it again. So the goal is to kind of take a look at it line by line and make the changes. The nice thing is it does tell us, oops, let me close this out. It does tell us some errors already. So like where it says Java 7, that's the line 7, there's an error. It means that there's a semicolon expected somewhere in there, or at least around there. So let's take a look. Yep, Mr. Heiser, they don't have a semicolon behind there, so you might have to do a semicolon there. If I run this again, hopefully that error disappears, and it does. Okay. Another one here, it says, hey, it says, reach the end of file while parsing a curly bracket. So somewhere in the back of my file, I have an error. So I might have to double check my curly brackets and make sure for every opening curly bracket, I have a closing curly bracket. So lots of steps. So I'm going to check my closing. Because it has to do with a curly bracket, I know I need to look at that. Even though it doesn't specifically tell me what the error is, it does give me hints. So I know it has to do with my curly brackets, so I'm going to check. Okay, so I've got my class main. I've got a curly bracket opening there, and I've got one closing there. So I might sometimes just do a comment and say, hey, that closes the class. And then, oh, I don't have one. It doesn't look like I have one for my void main here. I've got an opening one here, but I don't have a closing one. So it looks like I need to put one there. And that closes my function main. So I'm going to run it again. Oh, God, I got a lot of them. So I can just take a look. It might say cannot find Mr. Smith. So I'm taking a look at seeing here if I'm printing something out, maybe I'm missing something in that print line. So I'll let you guys figure out the rest, and I'll give you a few moments. If you want, you can help your neighbor, but we'll go through this. The error tells me there's something wrong with that system out print line. So you might have to compare what's working, what isn't working. Compare the different print lines and see what I'm missing. But our goal is to get everyone's names to print out. There's a lot of things to remember with this one. Sometimes it's hard to look at other people's code and find the errors. So this is good practice as well.
I had 2 kids that when they ran it, it gave their last assignment as the output below. And
oh.
So it was like some weird tricky thing.
Instead of like my names.
Yeah, instead of the.
That is weird.
Huh.
Huh.
Then we ran it again and then it worked. But 2 kids, it happened to 2 kids.
Ah, technology, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So do you want them to submit once they get it right?
They don't need to. They can just hold off and we're gonna run through this. So first thing is first, can you guys find anything wrong with the first line of code?
It shouldn't be class name.
What should it be?
No, never mind. It should be capital M.
Excellent. Good job. So class main, perfect. It could be a public class main, but the main focus, sorry, we're using main on. The point of changing line 1 is that the main is a capital M. So even though when I submitted this to you guys, it had a public class is fine, public. It just kind of means it's universal, or it can be used using multiple files and things like that. But the most important thing is that the M is capitalized. How about line 2? Was there anything wrong with that? I don't think so. I think that's good. We've got our opening curly bracket. We have a lowercase main, so that looks good. All right. How about what's wrong with Mr. Smith? The print line, Mr. Smith.
Quotation.
Excellent. Quotation marks. So we want that to output just as text. We need those quotation marks. The reason why it was giving us that it can't find the symbol is because it didn't realize that Mr. Smith was text. It thought it was some type of code. So that's why you need the quotation marks. So I'm guessing the next line as well, Mr. Ward needs to have quotation marks. Was there anything wrong with the following line with Mrs. Spoolhoff? I don't think so. We got our semicolon. How about Mr. Heiser?
Quotation.
Excellent. And then Mrs. Galloway as well. She needs to have quotation marks. We've got our semicolons. And then we also fixed we needed 2 closing curly brackets at the end. So let's run.
You didn't change the print. Oops.
Oh, thank you. I can do a print line. Yep.
Awesome. Line 9 says print IN.
Ah, good call. Perfect. Good job. Very picky, but it works. Good job, everyone. You don't need to submit this, but do you notice how really specific it has to be? So, I mean, this is only, 11 lines of code, and a lot of it's repetitive, but it's really important to make sure you have everything in place, that you have your semicolons, that everything is spelled right. See, I didn't even look at that print line versus print in. So those are really important things. It's very particular. All right, questions about this one? We're good? Are you guys starting to get the hang of it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go back to the classroom. Here. You have 3 assignments, and they're all very similar. They're going to deal with print line. They're going to be dealing with spacing and text. So you have, the first challenge is me to you. The second one is say my name. And the project is ASCII overload. So I'm going to just click on me to you. You don't need to start it yet. I'll just quick run through what it is. Yep. So this challenge, you are going to create a new file having a main class with the following content. So I put some of the stuff in there. Also include remarks above the public class or the main that identifies who you are as the author, along with the date of creation of this program. So it's going to look something similar to this square that I provided. Your name isn't Charles Cook, and the date's different, but yours is going to have something similar to that. You are then going to supply the code in place of, in between the opening curly bracket and the public static void main. And your goal is to have it print out the following. From Bill Smith, the address, the date, to Jack Jones, and the message. So that should be what your output looks like for this assignment. Before you guys start, is there any questions about what needs to happen for this? Do we all know? Hey guys, hands off your keyboards for just a second. Do we all know what the output needs to look like? Yes? Okay.
Wait over there. Yep.
Okay. So don't just hold off on starting this because I just want to run through the other 2 assignments and then I'll let you go. So hands, you don't need to be typing yet. Let's go back to the classroom. You guys have a question? If you go back to the assignments and scroll down, the second challenge is called Say My Name. You are going to write a program that will print out your initials to standard output and letters. Each big letter should be made up a bunch of little asterisks or stars, or even the letters. So I gave you 2 samples. So if your initials, let's say you just had, this one just has 2, DJ, this just has the asterisks. If you wanted to use letters, you could use the letters. Let's say your name was JBP, was your initials, you could use the letters. So you need to work on spacing, and you might have to do a little planning and running. So this is your second assignment or second challenge. If you don't have to use all 3 of your initials, you can just use 2. But it'll be up to you as far as if you use asterisks or the stars or the letters. Questions about this assignment? Questions? Okay, good. Then I'm going to go to the last one, which is the project. This is going to be due Monday morning, but if we need more time, I'm going to check in with you guys tomorrow. Or Mrs. Spoolhoff can let me know, hey, at the end of Friday, nobody got to it. We still need more time. That's fine. We can always extend it. We can always we can always use Monday. So, but anyways, this one is called ASCII Overload. ASCII is just another name for your basic characters that are on your keyboard. I gave you some background information about ASCII. I usually just say characters just because it's easier. However, you are going to make some artwork that must include characters, numbers, and letters. It needs to go beyond simple texting pictures. So like creating a rose, a 1-line rose, and I'll give you some samples of what I'm looking for, isn't going to be enough. It needs to have at least 5 lines. So if you run it, it needs to take up at least 5 lines. There is a rubric. It's going to be 15 points. If you need more, if you want to see that rubric a little bit better, it is in Schoology as well. So the main goal is to make sure you're coding properly. There's no errors. You're using some comments. You're using multiple lines. So your output uses multiple lines, and that you're trying to be creative as well. So just to give you some background, in Schoology, there actually are links that I put in for this assignment, but I didn't include them here in Repellent because it doesn't let me. But ASCII art. So if you guys take a look up at the screen or on your own shared screen, this is actually a form of graphic art, and people do ASCII artwork. So like this picture right here is as of the Wikipedia logo is characters. I am not requiring you to do anything this fancy, but I just wanted to show you some samples. So that's some artwork. There's people have done like outlining their name, the alphabet. I've seen, this is a little bit like tanks and trucks. You don't need to make yours animated, but that's a helicopter. Hello World. See these basic shapes? That's what I would consider like simple text art. So you need to go a little bit beyond like making a little cat face or making a triangle. You're going to need to go a little bit beyond that. Okay. You can do, I mean, clearly these are very advanced. Some of these are very advanced. But you could do like this rabbit or this cat. You could do a Google search to get some ideas. There is, if I go to this other link that I provided in Schoology, let's see. Hopefully my internet isn't. This rows would be considered too simple. See, it's only one line, something that people could do on their cell phones and text it out. But this face would definitely be more advanced. It's very advanced. So, I mean, you don't necessarily have to do it that quite advanced, but they have pumpkins and Star Trek and houses and books and computers. If you do a Google search for ASCII art, you'll find lots of samples. Some are very advanced. But your goal is just to have something that has output of more than 5 lines and to be creative. I'd hope that you would take the time to kind of think of something that you might want to try, give it a go. But that's your project that will be due hopefully by Monday, if all goes well. Is there any questions about the project? Okay. In fact, if you...
Kieran was a little worried about Mario.
Yes. Isn't that amazing? Like, somebody has way too much time on their hands. I mean, if you probably took some graph paper and planned it all out first, I think of like counter cross stitching. You know, this is very similar to like if your grandma or your mom does counter cross stitch. This would be something where it's very much like that, or like paint by number. But people have a lot of time. I mean, people, hey, whatever floats your boat, I guess. But yours does not need to be that extreme. But I wanted to show you there's some that are really quite advanced. So this is due Monday. We'll see where you're at. As long as you guys are working hard, that's all I'm asking. If we need more time then for that, we can do that. So you have 2 challenges, me to you, say my name, and ASCII overload. Don't forget your programming notes, the one that I signed way on Monday. Those are also due at the end of the hour on Friday, so I'll be looking for those as well. It's a lot of work, but like I said, if all these in-class challenges and projects, if we need more time, just because this is new to us and we're working hard, I'm more than happy to flex our time. But I just want to have some deadlines just in case we need those. So, questions?
Do you want them to hand wrote their notes to turn them in, like take a picture and turn them in?
That would be great. Yep.
Okay.
I just need proof that you've been working on them. And it's a little bit of reading, so I understand sometimes that can be tough for a computer class. But yes, that would be great. Questions? I will be checking in with the advanced kids tomorrow, so if you guys do have any questions, you can shout them out to me or email me at any time. But I want to give you some work time, without me jabbering away at you. I know. All right. So if there's no questions, I'm going to cut out of Google Hangouts so you don't hear me. But if you have any questions, you can just shoot me an email, or Mrs. Spoolhoff can shoot me an email. You can take a screenshot of your program.
Okay.
So, okay? Then I will talk to the advanced kids tomorrow, so I will be in contact a little bit. But I will let you guys work, okay? Good luck.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.